Let's talk about a little bit about strategy and being a good member of the Instagram community. Let's start with strategy. I think, and I know I've mentioned this before already in class, but it's really important that you think about what the story is that you want to tell. What's the theme that I'm showing, right? So, a couple like real life examples, right? Some of my favorite Instagrammers. We'll start with Drew Kelly. Drew Kelly is an American Instagrammer, and he, for part of the year, teaches inside North Korea. He's a professor who teaches in Pyongyang, and he has access to a part of the world that very few of us get to see. So his images and the story that he's telling is obviously it's very much based on the part of the world that he's at, but he's taking us inside. And so like not only are his images interesting, but his story is really compelling, and he's bringing us along, and he's giving us access to this part of the world that like very few people get to experience. And that's why he's one of my favorite Instagrammers, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be the place. Like you can think about it. You can think about it in terms of like location. Is that the story that I want to tell? So Drew's a great example of that. But there's also what is it about like what you do or who you are. So maybe it's your job, so the example I'm going to use is a guy named Greg Boydston. So Greg Boydston is he's like a wildlands firefighter. So he has a very dangerous job. And he has a very interesting job, and part of his job takes him to parts of the country where they're battling these kind of amazing forest fires. And he works with these people that he works with. They go through like excruciating training, and they have these like crazy long days. And his images kind of run the gamut, and they tell this story. Like some of it's like the training, some of it is like fire safety. Some of his images are like these eerily beautiful photos that are like of like just like a recently sort of destroyed forest. Um, but I find that like it's his life, but the story comes through the images and the words that he's using, and I think it's a great example of like how to tell a story on Instagram. And the third example is my good friend Emily Blinko, whose Instagram handle is Thug Life Forevs. I want to bring up Emily because her theme is really about creativity and lifestyle in her own life. And, I mean, she's incredibly talented. She does a lot of good things, like a lot of things amazingly well. But she's one of the most creative people that I follow on Instagram. She's trying to do interesting themes on side of Instagram that sort of relate to her personality and creativity. And she takes really fun and amazing images. So if you don't live in an amazing part of the world, or you don't have the most amazing profession, think about what it is that you can contribute to this creative nature inside of Instagram. And what Emily likes to say, that she doesn't just take photos, she makes photos. And I think that's a really interesting way to apply how you might think about contributing to Instagram.